Alien Rage Unlimited is one of those strange games where the Metacritic score is absurdly low for no apparent reason. I got this game on sale myself after looking at the screenshots and thinking, this looks quality enough to take a risk and try it out myself, despite the poor review scores it's received. My god, was I amazed at how good this game actually turned out to be. Now, this isn't gonna blow you away, it's not the greatest title on earth, but for a game that has a 55 Metacritic score, I'm just astounded. Who reviewed this thing? Because this game is not a 55, folks. This game is fantastic at what it's trying to do. It's one of the most fun arcade shooters I have played in the past decade. Does it have its problems? Yeah, but you find me a shooter on the market that doesn't have at least one thing wrong with it. You know, I'll take a shooter like this with limited story and fun gameplay over Call of Duty or Wolfenstein, which tried to shoehorn in an overly dramatic ham-fisted storyline into an arcadey shooter. But if you are somebody who cares about storyline a lot, the main problem with Alien Rage is that the storyline is as threadbare as possible. You get an early storyline that some stuff's going on in this mining community. The aliens are rioting, killing humans. You gotta go there and stop them. That's pretty much the entire story of the game. You get about 30-40 second clips at the beginning of each chapter, of which there are 14, telling you what your objective is, and that's pretty much it. There's some audio logs to find along the way, but they're nothing substantial. They're your generic audio logs. So if you're a storyline guy, I could see maybe why you'd give this a low score. But storyline's only one part of the game, and it should never be the determining factor for your view of a first-person shooter. I mean, it's a secondary concern. The real concern here is the game mechanics. And this is an Unreal 3 engine game, so the actual first-person shooter gameplay mechanics are fantastic. The weapons, of which there are 10, just feel amazing to use. You feel so powerful in this game when you unleash your full array of destruction upon the many varying alien types. And that's another thing this game does great. This game has excellent enemy design. There's a wide variety, and the variety builds as you play the game. You'll encounter some of the same enemies, the lower level ones, throughout, but each level, it adds in newer, more complex enemies with their own mechanics, their own ways of taking down throughout the game. It's one of the more diverse first-person shooters I've seen in a while. But with that said, it is also one of the hardest I've played in the longest time. You only have 3 difficulty settings to start out with, the lowest of which is normal. So that tells you right away that you are in for one hell of a challenge. The difficulty here is crazy. Even on normal, at points in the game, I had to revert to using a trainer. There were just sections of the game, even on normal, that, quite frankly, it would be impossible to get through. And playing it on difficult or insane, I don't see how anyone got through this without a trainer. As some enemy types are artificially difficult, as in, they cheat like bastards. There's one enemy type who's invisible, they run up upon you, and they shock you, and it dazes you for a moment, and that leads to you getting killed, because in this game you die real easy. I'm talking 3-4 shots and you are done. I mean, you've probably seen me die once or twice already in this video clip, and that's with using a trainer to give me extra health. So, that gives you an idea of how difficult this game is. When I'm dying in an Unreal Engine first-person shooter, which tend to be easier than other first-person shooters, and I'm using a trainer, and I'm still dying. So that tells you how difficult this game is. So if you're somebody who loves a challenging game, if you're that Dark Souls player out there who's looking for a first-person shooter that's hella difficult in terms of gameplay and optimization, I read a lot of reviews claiming that this game ran poorly. I run on an upper mid-level AMD system, and I ran into no issues. It played at 60 across the board, with only The only time I ever had a frame rate spike or drop was there's a little glitch. Every time you activate an elevator or open a door, it plays this little cutscene mechanic type thing where your hand goes up and spins this little thing, and for some reason that killed the frame rate. That would drop to about 18 during those segments. I have no idea why, but that was the only performance hitch I had happen throughout the entirety of the game. I had no crashes, I had no graphical glitches of any kind, and graphically, I love this game. I think it looks fantastic. It looks like a hybrid of Gears of War and Killzone crammed together to formulate this weird mining colony underground that's blue all over the place. But with that said, as much as I do love the graphical design, there is not very much variance. What you're seeing on screen is pretty much how every single level's going to look. So if you don't like shades of Tron blue, then this might not be the game for you. Also, in terms of level design, it's an Unreal Engine first-person shooter. That means that it's extremely linear. Even more linear than Gears of War Bulletstorm. So, if you're somebody who dislikes linear gameplay, again, not going to be the game for you, because this is straightforward and hand-holdy. You walk down a path, you have to activate something, it's going to be blinking in the distance, telling you what you need to activate. It's not a game that requires much outside thought. It's kill, 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 try to survive, get to the next checkpoint. And the checkpoint system here is a little different, too. It's got its good points and it's got its bad points. It kind of guides you a little bit too much along the way. It shows you your path as you're supposed to go, so it kind of treats you like it makes little to no sense, given how difficult the game is, that it would be so hand-holdy from checkpoint to checkpoint. But with that said, the checkpoint system in this, I saw some complaints about it, but I think it's more fair than the checkpoint system in a lot of first-person shooters. But given how difficult it is, I would like to see it laid out a little better, because often you'll find yourself just swarmed by enemies before you reach a checkpoint, and they will just slaughter you before you're able to activate the actual checkpoint. Again, these are minor issues. These are not like grand blemishes that are gonna mar your entire gameplay experience. I think a lot of reviewers have come to expect way too much out of games and expect every single game that hits the market to have all the bells and whistles and all the polish of a, $200 million AAA title. And not every game can be that. When you're reviewing a game, you need to look at what it's trying to be. You need to look at what it's trying to achieve, what it's trying to be. And does the game achieve that goal? And for me, Alien Rage Unlimited is a resounding success at what it's trying to do. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel. It's trying to make a throwback arcade shooter that's accessible in the modern era. This is a sub-$20 game. It's not a $60 product. It's a 14-chapter campaign that's going to take you between 6 and 10 hours to complete, and you're going to get your money's worth, because more often than not, you're going to pick this up from Bundle Stars, you're going to pick this up on a Steam sale for $5. Is this game worth $5? A resounding yes. I personally highly recommend Alien Rage Unlimited for all the PC gamers out there looking for a fun, arcadey shooter at an absolute steal of a price that will provide a more than adequate challenge.